Hello and welcome to EPG Pathshala, and this is Professor G. Srinivas Reddy, a retired Professor of Public Administration, Kakatiya University, Warangal, Telangana State. Today we are going to have a presentation on Rensis Likert, who is a prominent behavioralist thinker in the field of public administration and management. Rensis Likert is known for his contributions to human relations movement, and his another seminal contribution is to the development of Likert scale, a scale which is named after him to quantify the human behavior. His third important contribution is to democratic participation, and democratic participation leading to improved performance. He also proposes a balanced approach to organization between the mechanistic and humanistic approaches. So therefore, although he is considered as a behavioralist, he is logically a bridge between the classical theory and the modern theory of organization and public administration. The classical theory was a mechanistic theory. The modern theory is a behavioralist theory. In between, there is a neoclassical theory, and Rensis Likert is yet another prominent contributor to this after George Elton Mayo, about whose contributions to human relations we have come to know in some other lecture in this particular series. I shall present Rensis Likert in 4 parts. Firstly, I shall give a sketch of his biodata. Secondly, I will make a mention of his important writings. Thirdly, his major ideas. And finally, we will come to a critical evaluation of the contributions of Rensis Likert. Now, coming to his biodata, Likert was born in Wyoming in the United States in the year 1903. He died in the year 1981. He had interdisciplinary learning, which is very, very important to understand things in a proper perspective. His interdisciplinarity comprised of his education both in engineering and social sciences. And he was a very important American administration expert and organizational psychologist. He has worked in the United States Department of Agriculture, and he worked at Michigan University. And he has obtained also a degree from Michigan University and PhD from the University of Columbia. Coming to his important publications, some 6 books deserve important mention. The first is A Technique for Measurement of Attitudes, published in the year 1932. The second is Developing Patterns in Management. This was published in 1955. The third important work is Some Applications of Behavioral Research, published in the year 1957. Fourth book is New Patterns of Management, published in 1961. Next important, fifth one is Human Organizations, Its Management and Value, which saw the light of the day in the year 1967. One more book he published in the same year is New Ways of Managing Conflict. We can perhaps summarize the contributions of Rensis Likert under 2 broad headings. Firstly, his contributions to social service, and secondly, his contributions to concept of leadership, or his studies on leadership. We shall come to the first now. Coming to social service, let me just mention that social survey is taking a view from above. Now, there are surveys done by social scientists. Survey is a method of understanding the social reality by going to the field, by having a direct encounter with the field, by observing things, by discussing with people and knowing things this way is what is known as social survey. And Likart's contribution, particular contribution to social service is to quantify the knowledge that we get from social service. Statistics, let me mention, statistics is a kind of a marriage between mathematics and social sciences. Statistics is the subject that applies mathematics to social sciences. Now he has refined the statistical methods for study of the administrative and managerial phenomena. His important contribution is to the development of Likert scale. Likert scale is helpful in measuring social behavior. And now he makes another important contribution saying that the individual behavior is different from social behavior or group behavior. Group behavior, therefore, is not the sum total of individual behaviors. There are 10 people who are absolutely peace-loving, very quiet guys, but all the 10 are gathering at some particular point of time on some particular issue. No, they may turn very violent. Now, people who are basically pacific become very violent in the setting of a group. So, this kind of distinction is trying to make. Now, coming to Likart's 5-point scale, he says to measure the intensity of feelings or the opinions of people, you should have 5-graded system or a scale on which there are 5 positions. These 5 positions are, suppose you shoot a question saying that do you like one-party system to be in India? In India, as you know, we have a multi-party system. Instead of that, somebody is proposing. He is trying to just see how it would work out and whether people like it or not. He is undertaking a survey, social survey. He is going to people and asking them as to how do they receive or how do they like this one-party system. Now, in reply, what Likert suggests is there should be 5 grades. First grade is strongly agree. One-party system is absolutely needed. This is the kind of feeling. So, you say SA or strongly agree. The second position is agree. The third position is neither agree nor disagree. This is a neutral position. And the fourth position is disagree. And the fifth position is strongly disagree. So instead of measuring the feelings or opinions in a crude way, like whether you like it or not, like it but how much you like, dislike it, how much you dislike. I think some administrative actions have some implications based on the intensity of the feelings. Say for example, somebody on some issue, he doesn't like it, but his dislike is not very, very important because he doesn't like it, but he is not going to do much about it. But there's somebody who says, I strongly dislike, so therefore is going to be a potential opponent to the kind of move we are making. So this is the important contribution Likert has made, and he has also made some further contributions to survey research by suggesting ways and means of improving the questionnaire construction and coding of the data. Let me just mention that questionnaire comprises of a series of questions and which you get replies from people in a social survey and you try to code them, giving some code numbers, and he has given some practical suggestions to improve the quality of questionnaire and coding. Therefore, his contributions to survey research are very, very significant. He has made contributions to scaling. He has given his own scale called Likert scale, which has 5 points from extreme dislike or disagreement to extreme agreement, and having 5 grades, and the mid position is a neutral position of neither agree or disagree. Now this leads us to the second important contribution of Francis Likert, his contributions to leadership studies. Let me just mention, leadership is a phenomena of giving guidance to the organization. Leadership is a quality that enables some people to guide others, some people to influence others. Here, Likert says that there are two distinct and separate styles of leadership. These two styles of leadership or contrasting styles of leadership are, number one, job-centric or job-centered leadership, and the second is people-centered or people-centric leadership or employee-centered leadership. Now he says the job-centered leadership resembles initiating structure that views employees as means to an end. The first approach, where a leader thinks job is all too important, people have to adjust to the job requirements. So what is expected is job is given and the behavior of the employees can be modulated by the employees. People are supposed to tailor-make their behavior to perform the job. So job is central, not the person. This is the approach. The second is the second kind of style, which is known as employee-centered leadership. It is a thing that gives importance to consideration to people. This is an approach where the leader considers the opinions, the feelings, the requirements and important views of the subordinates that he is trying to manage. And the second style of leadership values human relations. Perhaps going back to the human relations theory, where George Elton Mayo said, the happy worker is the most productive worker. So also, the second style of leadership believes that making employees happy is important. You have to consider their feelings and you should not hurt them. You should not rub them on the wrong side. So these are two basic types. Continuing further with this concept of the employee-centered leadership, Likert says that the consideration or employee-centered leadership is important. And the peculiarity of this leadership style is it values mutual understanding. It suggests that the leader should try to understand the subordinates and subordinates should understand the leader, and there should be opportunity to create this mutual understanding. And it also says that the relationship between the workers and the management must be harmonious. So the relations must be strengthened between the workers and management for the better productivity of the organization. Expanding his ideas on leadership further, we can identify his concept of 4 types of leadership, which he also labels as 4 styles of management or 4 systems of management. According to Likert, there are 4 systems of management, or the managers follow one of the 4 styles in their managerial actions. The first style of management is exploitative authoritative style. The second is benevolent authoritative style. And the third is consultative style. And the last is participative style. The exploitative authoritative style is one where the boss or the manager is highly authoritarian. He believes only in one-way communication largely. He believes in downward communication. He passes on orders and expects the subordinates to follow it without questioning largely. And in this type of leadership, the leader or manager invokes fear to get compliance or conformance from the subordinates. He threatens the subordinates about the results of not complying, not following boss's order. And therefore, this is very authoritarian. It is exploitative in the sense that you exploit the employee or worker. You don't bother about their own requirements and all that. The second type of management or leadership style is benevolent authoritarian or authoritative. Now, in this style of leadership, the manager is also authoritative. He believes in top-down communication. He says, I know it all. Don't tell me. I'm saying this, you do it. This is the way the boss behaves with the subordinates. But here the boss has consideration for people. He has certain sympathy for the people working with him. He is benevolent. He is not malevolent. Malevolent is, it doesn't mean any harm to the subordinates. But he does some good in his own imagination. He is not benefiting his employees the way they want the benefits to be. He is not doing things that the subordinates or employees want. He would not ask them because his style is one-way communication. But he is not a bad guy. He thinks, I know what is needed for my people. So let me therefore do things. And the subordinates may not know what exactly they require. Therefore, I am making a guess about what they require and I am trying to fulfill. So he is one who wants to help subordinates or employees, but he doesn't render that help in the way the subordinates want. Now he wants to know what way they want. We come to the third important style of management. The third style of management of Likert is consultative style. Under consultative style, the leader or the manager believes that consultation is good. Something like two minds are better than one. We sometimes use this proverb as a proverb. And he thinks that when you consult with your subordinates, maybe you try to get to know about some hidden dimensions of the problem. Some side of the problem which is not coming, you are not able to figure out. Some subordinate is able to figure out. Is going to tell you about the difficulties, is going to tell you about some opportunities, and therefore it's good to consult. You consult and take major decisions. Here in the first two and also here the decision making is centralized. In the first one, decision making is centralized without any regard for requirement of employees. In the second, decisions are made centrally by the top boss, but with consideration of the interests of the subordinates. But interests of the subordinates are self-pursued, pursued by the manager himself, not trying to ask them and know. And the third thing, they are taking decisions. Decision is taken, decision is centralized, but decision is based on consultation. Decision is based on the ideas of the subordinates or inputs of subordinates. Therefore, you see a kind of progressive improvement in the style, refinement in the style, and style becoming more matter of fact and more productive. And the culmination is in the fourth style of management, which is participative. The manager's use of participative methods is not merely invoking participation for the sake of participation, but for collaborative decision making. Here, both the inputs for decision and the output of decision is vetted, or it is made after full involvement of the employees. Francis Likert says that this is a very sophisticated way. Instead of saying, theory X type of leader or manager and theory Y type of manager, somebody bulldozing, somebody is carrying everybody forward. He says there are some intermediary stages. It's not that leaders, it's something like, not like black and white. I think you may know that a black and white picture does not show all the shades of a person. The person is projected in black and white, but if you have a color picture, I think you get to see the real colors of the person. So something like that. He is trying to split these two styles into 4 different styles and making a progression from exploitative authoritarian style to participative style, and implicitly suggesting that the participative style is a better style of management. When we take a close look at his ideas on leadership, whether the ideas on job-centered and people-centered leadership or various types of management styles like exploitative, authoritative, benevolent, authoritative, consultative and participative, what runs as a continuing thread, the undercurrent of all this is, these are 2 things. Firstly, his ideas are guided by how authority is viewed by managers. Secondly, how managers relate themselves to people. Now, authority is viewed. I think the perceptions of authority vary from manager to manager, leader to leader. So, therefore, the style of leadership depends on the understanding of the authority by the particular leader. So, therefore, he sees a close connection between his personal understanding as his personal action. Action and understanding are related. And even the relations are also influenced by the perception of authority. Some people view authority as effective when the top-down commands go. Some people think that organization will go on single file, organization will achieve productive heights when there is unity of command. The boss says it all and the subordinates follow. So this is how, but there are people who have an alternative understanding of authority. For instance, from one of the thinkers we can borrow the idea of acceptance theory of authority. Chester Bernard talks about this. Authority is not merely the order of the superior. Authority is that kind of communication which is accepted by the subordinate. So acceptance is important. So the perception of authority, for some people authority is the order, but what perhaps Likert is hinting at is orders once given, there is no guarantee that they will be followed by subordinates. Perchance there may be occasions when orders are followed, right? But there may be occasions, ever so many occasions where orders are not followed. So therefore perception of authority has to be proper. One has to understand that authority is not merely giving orders, but the followers, you have to keep the conditions of the followers, and you have to have very clear communication. You should see the possibilities, abilities of the subordinates, and you should give orders in authority exercise should be done in such a way that it furthers the organizational interest and even the personal interest. Okay, we come to some summarizing or critical evaluation of Rensis Likert. Likert has made great contributions to survey research. And behavioral sciences, let me just mention, are based on the premise that the reality is should be deduced from evidence. What is evident alone is real. And to further this, to get valid social science, one of the methods is empirical method, survey research method. But one of the major problems faced by survey researchers was not have any sophisticated measures of feelings or opinions. They were simply measuring in a kind of bimodal way, yes or no, agreed or disagreed. But in social opinions or feelings or in behavior, there are so many modulations, and the behavior has so many, kinds of grades and scales, and the scaling techniques has been a very great contribution of Likert. And another important contribution of Likert is to the theory of leadership. And he has developed a very sophisticated model of leadership and is advocated the the participative method of leadership, which is different from consultative. Benevolent authoritative is improvement over exploitative. Consultative is improvement over benevolent authoritative. And participative is the best of all. In participative leadership style, the leader should take inputs from subordinates, and also the leader should enable the subordinates to have a good sense of participation in decision making. A clever leader perhaps is one, even if he has some of his own personal ideas, he should try to put his ideas into the mouth of the subordinates. He has to convince the subordinates about the rationality of his own ideas, and after the subordinates are convinced, they will also willingly take a position that this is the correct decision. Maybe the decision is that of the boss, but subordinates also quite happily agree that this decision is one that has to be enforced, and the enforcement or execution of decision becomes very easy, and productivity therefore can rise. Now, in sum and substance, we can say that he has made great contributions to behavioral science, organizational behavior, to research methodology, and he has made immense contribution to our understanding of leadership. So therefore, Francis Likert has a very, very important place in the world of ideas on management and administration. He can be reckoned as an important administrative thinker. Well, friends, let's just raise some questions and answer them so that you will have more cemented understanding of the ideas of Francis Likert. I'll raise these questions and answer myself. And the first question could be, what is the contribution of Francis Likert to research methodology? Let me just say that research methodology is the methodical study of something, some phenomenon. And research methodology has to be scientific. And Francis Likert has made his own contributions to make the research methodology of social sciences and management more scientific by giving scientific tools of measurement. His tool of measurement is 5-point scale or Likert scale, which has 5 gradations in the opinions or ideas of the people based on the intensity of their feelings, from a strongly disagreed position to a strongly agreed position, in between agreed, neither agreed, not disagreed, and just agreed. So this is the contribution, and his contribution is to strengthen research methodology. He has given his important ideas, useful suggestions for improving the quality of questionnaire and for coding the data that is used in research. Perhaps the second question we can raise is, what is the significance of Francis Likert to, what is the significant contribution of Likert to management? Likert's contribution to management is mainly to the field of organizational behavior. In organizational behavior, there are several concepts. One of them is communication, leadership, motivation, and all that. So leadership is a very, very important component of organizational behavior. Leadership is the steering element in an organization. Leadership is something that leads an organization towards a particular direction. If the organization has to prosper, develop in a particular direction, leadership is important. Without leadership, the direction misses. Organization may go in wrong directions. Organization may become dysfunctional. So this is where Likert has made his own contribution. He says there are 2 types of leaders basically at a simple level, elementary level. These are job-centered leaders and people-centered leaders. Job-centered leaders tend to be authoritarian, people-centered leaders tend to be humanitarian, and not satisfied with this twofold division, he has divided the leadership styles or management styles into 4. These are in fact a further sophistication over the binary leadership styles. There are 4 real styles of leadership, and he has, by postulating these 4 styles of management, he has suggested that the participative leadership is the most successful leadership. The chances of success are more with participative leadership. Let me once again thank you. Thank you.